Hey buddies, welcome to AmassGames. My name is Simon. This is episode, I think it's 19 of the AmassGames podcast, now available on various other platforms, as I mentioned in the last episode. So not just Apple, not just Spotify, it is available at lots of other places. So hopefully you can let me know where on earth you do actually hear this, and hopefully you have been enjoying it so far. So in this particular episode, I'm talking about some new games that I'll be receiving, also some new games that I've been playing as well. And just off the interest, I want to mention that Tristan Hall happened to have his birthday this week and is at UKGE, and he happens to have a game up on crowdfunding. It's, I think, the final day at time of recording. So if you were interested in backing that, I'm sure there's probably a late pledge manager available too. But if you want to check out another game designed by Tristan, then check out my 1565. So just Google AmassGames 1565 to see how to play that game. I think I've done a solo playthrough as well. The game in question on gamefound is World of Killforth, a fantasy quest games, and that's been published by All or Nothing Productions Limited. So that is obviously Tristan's company. I think he's based in Manchester or somewhere near there. So back to the stats. So let's talk about some games that I've been playing. So we've got, going back to 2 weeks prior, obviously this is being released roughly every 2 weeks, Boulder Dash. So I've got more videos coming out for Boulder Dash. This is a word game, which I think I mentioned in the prior episode as well. And also then Super Mega Lucky Box. This is a game by Phil Walker Harding, whereby you are looking to, I mean, it's described as like bingo, and I can kind of see it. It's a flip and right game. You're flipping something over, trying to match things up, trying to chain them together and ultimately get the best score possible. Also Solstice, this is a 2-player game. It's not a terrible game, but it's a French game, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing whatsoever, obviously in terms of films, and also board games, I do highly rate them. But this particular one, I can see it's an interesting time to kind of release it in terms of being on Boardgamearena. Yes, we do have the Northern Lights, but in terms of the fact that it's obviously nowhere near the summer solstice for another month away, it seems a bit premature. But Bruno Cathala is behind it. It has a kind of, you can definitely see a Seven Wonders Duel feel to it, this pyramid, whereby you're trying to, again, kind of chain things up, but I only give it a 5 out of 5 at time of recording. Next up, Walk and Roll. So I have now filmed a video for this. I've had this a long time, but I haven't played it all player counts, hadn't had a chance to play it on the expert side, which I must admit is a lot better. It is very good, the base game, and it did make my game of the month. If you've checked out that video, just Google AmassGames, of course, head through to that playlist for best of the month. But that is a roll and write game, so check out my roll and write playlist, where you will find flip and writes in there too. Also, Games of Time's up, so that's been very fun to play. This is a game I've played years ago, the deluxe edition. Best game last weekend that we're playing, filmed that as well. That hasn't gone live yet, so there's lots of unlisted videos that I'm just drip feeding daily through. Also, Heat Pedal to the Metal, a game that I'm very impressed with, a game that I've held off a long time playing because I know someone's got it and I thought I'd play their copy, and I know a few other people have had it and it just turned around that we got around to playing that too. Also Flowers, a mandala game, obviously lots of videos on the channel for mandala. I've known the designer and in particular his sister a very long time, about a decade now, and this is a follow-up one. It's not being as well received, it is with more players though, which I have yet to try. I still give it, it would be lower than average, it's a 6.5, but it's higher than my average score, and I think that might improve. It's a little bit more to learn to it, as well as Lord of the Rings, the adventure book, so we've played through chapter 3, which is now getting pretty hard. However, even on a second game, which is a co-op, we happened to draw some cards that actually, someone said, well, these cards are too good for me, I think we should go again. So we kind of played again, which I couldn't believe, considering we'd already lost the first time. Also, Pax Renaissance 2nd edition, which is a heavy but clever kind of sandbox kind of game, and I can see where there is a relevance and a relation through to the GMT's Here I Stand, which is also coming to the channel, as well as Sherlock 13, which is a deduction game that's now live on the channel, being shared by Arcane Wonders over on Instagram, so head over there. Also Comet, which is also coming to the channel. I wanted to play it as a 2 though before making that video go live too, whereby designed by the designer of Thebes, which will also be bringing to the channel. I've had that for years. That is by Peter Prince, and this is published by Hooch, I think it's pronounced, and Fun Tales. And you're pretty much going to try and get animals. It's one of 3 options: bring out animals, move animals, or you can rest, which basically lets you kind of tap your animals. Coming back to 1565, there's obviously a crossover there, as well as other games. So we've got Whale Riders, a card game, a free game given away with Whale Riders. It's not a game that, I think it's 25th Century Games puts it out. They're no longer publishing, they're no longer doing that currently, but there are other games that they are doing, which I'm looking to bring to the channel as well as a card game called Liverpool, which has been kind of re-skinned, not even re-skinned, it's just re-implemented by a game called Cozy Oaks, which is a bit clunky, unfortunately. More games for the Last Lighthouse, trying it as a 4 as well. Of course, that was my game of the month last month. Of course, do watch out for, obviously, if you're watching this and I'm speaking too fast, by all means slow it down. I don't want you to be driving too fast and then having an incident. Also Fort, so Fort is by Leader Games, and I've been looking forward to playing out that Cats and Dogs expansion, as well as the expansion coming soon for Ahoy. I think that's pretty much out now. Also, The Animals of Baker Street, loving this. I actually finished it solo in the end of the campaign, which has about 7 games in it. It's a clever idea of this narrative, and then they kind of put some, let's say, obstacles and gameplay into it, and it's really good. Very good, in fact, a great rating. Also, Great Western Trail, as well as El Grande. And so El Grande is a area control game, but it does have memory, which I think is why I think it could be overruled in terms of more modern variants, even though it's gone on the Mac Daddy and the SPIEL.digital's winning game, bringing to the masses worker placement, said it again, obviously area control. But check out my playlist for SPIEL.digital's winning games, because there's another one, Tikal, which won it in 1999 by Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesling. So I finally played this as a 4. Did not take as long as expected. I expected with new players as well, not just new players, but in general. 4 I thought would grind, but no, they really much enjoyed it, which is great to know. Also Aldabasdor Cartagena, as well as Wingspan, the European and Oceania expansion all into one. Check out my videos coming soon for that, already recorded, just going to be going live probably in June, because I've been playing the app, so you can watch a couple of videos I've made with the app. One of them, unfortunately, can't record sound in the game and me narrating it, so you've got one with me doing it and one without, obviously one being the gameplay. Also, there's Everdell the Complete Collection. That's now fully stuck up in terms of the stickers, over 800 of them. Does take about 3 days to do. Trailblazers by the designer of Pipeline, a guy called Ryan who designed this. Still quite fiddly, I find. There's lots of different objectives. It's tricky to kind of focus on and how many to focus on. Didn't really jive for me, unfortunately. Also, Dungeons & Dragons Onslaught, so that's gone live. This is a skirmish game, but what's good about it is if you lose the first game, you kind of, presumably get a more of a benefit in the second one based on how you placed out onto the board with some NPCs too. Also, another Sherlock game, 221B Baker Street, The Master Detective. So we've been playing through 9 cases now at time of recording. Also the solo game Legacy of You, which I've been playing cooperatively as well. I'm looking forward to playing a bit more co-op. And I know Shem Phillips shared my post over on Instagram, so that's done really well. More games have also Ticket to Ride and Clash of Galliforms, which is also coming to the channel, because I have mentioned before about Scarce coming out. Lastly, we have Sagrada, which I mentioned before, obviously by Floodgate Games, and more stuff's bringing for that, and also Shawari. So now this is another French game. It also kind of involves a pyramid in some respects. So it is a pyramid. So again, it's interesting how the French do this. I don't know if it's all to do with the Egyptians and the ancient history and their kind of interest in that part of the world, because they have brought out a few games, like Yellow have brought out games by them too. Designed by Arnaud Chabloz, and basically you're trying to be the Grandmaster of the Merchant Guild of Shawari. You're trying to move things around a board. I can see the similarity to the likes of, even like, I don't know why I say Tainted Grail, because there is something where you can chain cards together. I know some people have compared to other games. You could say there's a 5 Tribes, even their kind of thieves element, which again is also obviously Egyptian themed, funnily enough. But again, that time again, a German publisher and a German designer. Not quite sure, but yeah, 5.5 rating for me. I know 6 is what other people are giving it. A relatively short episode in some respects this time round, but again, I hope you found everything of interest. Obviously, head over to YouTube, let me know there in the comments, obviously on the videos we're talked about, or in general, just head through to that main page. Aside from that, I said I mentioned about Instagram, head over there too. Facebook, tickets have now gone live for Hexacon 3, so that's the end of August. And any other updates, of course, will hopefully bring you in the next couple of weeks. That's it. Apart from that, in terms of the last 366 days, I think it's 2,500 or 2,755 hours of gameplay. But for now, that's it. Thanks so much for listening. Back to the table.